Alright, so I've gotten both lucky and unlucky with this PC within the last week or so. Basically, after I swapped out the CPU for the other one, it started acting weird. I got it working again, but now it's completely dead. It won't post, it won't boot, it does nothing. Luckily, a friend of mine got his work PC upgraded from a first gen i3 to a third gen i3, which means he gave me this, which is a first gen i3 with 2 sticks of RAM. This is DDR3, so hopefully I can take this RAM that sits down here and just plop it over into the new system. I gotta, get everything out and swap the motherboards around. I hope the standoffs are the same. If not, we'll have to figure something out. But looks like my little Q6600 rig will finally be upgraded. So yeah, I'm gonna start with taking all this out. See if I can get the motherboard out without having to take off these fans or attached with glue here. It's a pain to take off because it's quite adhesive. It's really hard to clean off properly. But yeah, I'm gonna first order of business, take out the motherboard, see if the front I/O connectors work. If I need to customize those some more, I'll do that. I might show you, I might not. Depends on how much of a pain it is to do. But yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, just to show you here in the disassembly process here. I originally only cut this to fit a single slot GPU, but then as I got my my 640 here, it's a dual slot, so I had to pretty much just take off the plate there. So that's why I had to install this little piece of cardboard here to avoid it jiggling around, moving too much in the PCIe slot. So that's a little design flaw. I should have foreseen that, because this PC is going to get upgraded as as often as I get spare parts to do it. Yep, this assembly continues. Alright, so while I have this case here empty, you can see how these are placed in here. They're pretty much just screwed directly into the wood. There's no glue or anything holding them. It's actually quite impressive that it holds so well. It's a pretty rough wood though. It's pretty hard. It's a pain in the ass to cut as well. Partially because it splinters like hell, but also because it is incredibly hard, and the saw usually has a hard time cutting it even though it's so thin. But what was I saying? Well, yeah, while it's empty here, I get a good chance to sort of tidy up the cables. You might be wondering, it's quite an overkill power supply for an i3 and a GT 640 here, but the plan is, of course, to sort of, as we progress, get bigger graphics cards and bigger CPUs and bigger motherboards and more RAM, and probably not hard drives. But I wanted this power supply here because, firstly, it was free and it came from an old wrecked system where the motherboard was dead. Some guy sort of just kind of took a screwdriver and accidentally put it through the pins, so motherboard died. But I have two 8-pin PCIe connectors, so I can actually run I can run pretty much any graphics card in here. I mean, apart from those crazy dual GPU AMD cards and stuff. But yeah, so this is actually probably the part that's not going to be changed in this rig. Everything else is bound to be swapped out. Maybe also this one will stay. Say, what is that? An 840 Samsung SSD. If you're wondering how this is put on, it's basically I did these weird little brackets here. 2 holes, one into the wood, one into the power supply, and mounts it like that. It's pretty, I mean, I can lift the case and it doesn't move. But yeah, so now for the motherboard installation, new motherboard. And of course I'm gonna tidy up the cables a lot nicer this time because, well, I don't know, said I would do it. I didn't last time, so we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so I managed to get it fit. I had to cut a little more space here because the PCI slots didn't actually line up. As you can see, I cleaned up the cables a bit. The motherboard's of course smaller, which means there's more sort of space to manage it all. I just kind of tucked it all the way over here. Done some braiding of the cables and such. You can see it's actually getting all the getting Windows ready here, because I haven't reinstalled anything. I just kind of swapped over the SSD. What else did I do? I didn't actually do much else apart from actually mounting this back plate here in a different way. Instead of using tacks, I have glued it now, so it has a much better seal than it had before. It was kind of flimsy before. Probably gonna do that with all the sides eventually at some point if I have to move stuff around. What else did I do? I didn't do much else actually. The funny enough, the front I/O, which I made custom for the other motherboard, this one that runs here, actually fits to this motherboard as well. It's probably some sort of standard, even though the old motherboard that I had wasn't actually in any way, shape, or form a type of standard. Let's see here. I'm not going to show you my... I need to plug stuff in. Hold on. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back again. I got the USBs plugged in and everything, and it seems like all the RAM DIMMs are working properly. See, it's only a i3 530, but still better than the old one that didn't boot at all. So yeah, that's the update for this time. I'm hoping either maybe a higher tier processor, maybe a first gen i5 if I'm lucky. Eventually, I mean, of course, I want to get to at least Gen 2 or Gen 3, but that'll have to wait. And of course, I'm hoping for a better video card, because we've actually tested this i3, and you can actually game on it with a decent graphics card. Things like World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Counter-Strike, you know, all that stuff you can. The only thing holding it back, for example, for more graphics demanding title is this small 640 now. But hoping for something that this one will actually have to work for. And until then, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoy it, you know what to do if you want to see more. So that's it for now. See it running there. Peace out.